Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final gets going tonight in Sunrise, Florida. Dennis Bernstein, Dave Pagnotta. Our coverage of the 2025 Stanley Cup Final is brought to you by Carlsberg, probably the best beer in the world. All right, DB, one slight change for the Florida Panthers. They get A.J. Greer back in the lineup. He'll make his Stanley Cup debut for the Panthers. Out comes Jesper Boqvist.
Sure, just what they need. More bite and physicality on the fourth line. But certainly that's their MO. That's how they win games. So I'm certain that Paul Maurice is welcoming A.J. Greer back to the lineup for Boqvist. Not that Boqvist played poorly, but he's more the DNA, Greer, than Boqvist is for this team.
Yeah, certainly. So far, we don't know of any changes from Edmonton's side of things. They're skating as we're doing this. So the only update we have is, or the only player we're going to be watching is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Yep. Didn't skate yesterday. He's on the ice today. We'll see his status for later tonight.
Yeah, he came on the ice a little late for their morning skate, but his status is still uncertain at this point.
We'll see, obviously. I mean, if he's out of the lineup, that's a serious blow for them.
Yep.
Because it affects not only their second line, their first line, but also their second line. Anytime they want to bring in Leon Draisaitl to play alongside on the left side of McDavid, Nuge slots into the center position.
And the power play. His vision and IQ on the power play is certainly a great addition. So that would be a pretty substantial loss if he wasn't able to go.
We were here at practice for Florida. Everybody seemed pretty loose. Everybody seems pretty confident. And the same thing from Edmonton's side of things. These are two strong powerhouses right now that display a lot of confidence on and off the ice.
Yeah, there's not much separating these teams, Dave, and for me it looks still like 7 games we're looking at right now.
Yeah, shot for shot, back and forth, as we've been saying over the course of the first 2 games anyway. Some house cleaning around the National Hockey League as we get closer to the draft and to free agency. Some teams looking to make some changes, make some moves. This team here, the Florida Panthers, have 3 key free agents in Sam Bennett, Aaron Ekblad, and Brad Marchand. With respect to Bennett, it sounds like there's progress there, but this is likely to stay on a similar path to what we saw last year with Sam Reinhart. After the Stanley Cup Final wrapped up, they were able to get a deal done and keep Reinhart here long term. It looks like it's going in that direction with Bennett, so don't be surprised if he locks up and sticks here in South Florida. Around the league, Utah. We reported a couple of weeks ago that the Mammoth are looking to move the 4th overall pick, or excuse me, I should say open to moving the 4th overall pick. But in order to do so, they want a top 6 guy that can fit offensively with their group.
And I would think, they're a relatively small team up front, Dave. So I think that type of player, a top 6 guy, you'd want a more physical, a bigger type of player, and it'd be a 6'2", 200-pound sort of guy, as opposed to a 5'10", 175 guys that they seem to have a lot of.
Yeah, we're certainly going to keep tabs on that as we get closer to the draft. But Bill Armstrong, the GM of the Mammoth, is open to that possibility. Another team that's looking to make some moves, the Buffalo Sabres. They brought in Jarmo Kekalainen and Eric Stahl to the management team, led by Kevin Adams. They've been aggressive. We've already heard Bowen Byram's name for the last few weeks. Sure. That's going to continue. But don't be surprised if teams start poking around on guys like Alex Tuck and even Owen Power as possibilities.
They didn't bring Keck in to stand pat, Dave. So I expect some significant activity from the Sabres in this offseason as we get closer to the fall.
Yeah, they're going to be aggressive, certainly. And one name that we've seen out there has been J.J. Peterka. Yes. He's a restricted free agent, I should say. I haven't heard much out of Buffalo's camp of a willingness to actually move him. So we'll see kind of where that develops. If there is a team that wants to make something happen, they're going to have to convince the Buffalo Sabres to pull that off. So we'll keep tabs on them. Another team to certainly watch, the New York Rangers. They are active. They're looking to free up money, and they're looking to rejig the roster a little bit. We've already heard Chris Kreider's name out there, and Keandre Miller, who's a pending restricted free agent.
On Miller, Vladislav Gavrikov hasn't signed yet in Los Angeles. If he goes to free agency and they wind up losing him, that Miller could be a target for Kenny Holland, the new general manager, to replace Gavrikov on the left side.
Be something to watch there. L.A., they're going to have to figure out what to do if they can't get Gavrikov locked in. He's looking for, 7+?
Yeah, 7.5, maybe even close to 8. Depends on the market. It's going to be a seller's market with respect to a guy who is dependable, can play 20 to 22 minutes a night. He's a great guy in the room. So it would be a big loss for the Kings if he did decide to walk to free agency and not re-sign.
Those contract discussions are happening now, so we'll see if that does develop over the next few weeks. The other guy to keep an eye on with the Rangers, Mika Zibanejad.
Yep.
I know he's got a full no-movement clause, but that hasn't really stopped Chris Drury before.
Yeah, absolutely meaningless, Dave. If he wants to go and move on, depending on the destination, Mika could have a new destination by the fall.
We'll keep tabs on this, and we'll keep tabs on the Stanley Cup Final. Game 3 gets going tonight. We will catch you after the game inside Amerant Bank Arena. Dennis Bernstein, Dave Pagnotta. This is our coverage of the 2025 Stanley Cup Final, presented to you by Carlsberg.